Today I'm going to teach you how to smoke a turkey. Right here we have a 14-pound turkey that's ready to go. We put it in the refrigerator last night to let the skin dry out. The refrigerator will naturally dry the skin out. So if you like a crispy skin, that's what you do. Along with our turkey, we're going to be using some spray olive oil. The spray olive oil here will help crispy up the skin too. We have our herbs, and then we have a compound butter that we like to use for sticking underneath the skin to help retain the moisture of the bird. Let's go on and check out our broth or our gravy. So all the innards that most people throw away the night before, throw it in a crock pot with a can of chicken broth and leftover herbs, a few tomatoes, help thicken up, butter, apples, limes, rosemary, and let that go on high. And that's gonna keep going. And I'll show you later what we're gonna use that for with making the gravy for the turkey. All right, the next thing we do, since we've got all of our ingredients lined up, we're gonna go ahead and prep the turkey. The first thing you wanna do is always remove your wedding ring, or that's gonna make your wife upset. Don't wanna get that messed up. Then we wanna stick our hands in here, we wanna loosen up the skin, and don't break the skin, loosen it up. Remember, the night before we had this in the refrigerator to dry that skin out, and that's gonna lead to crispiness. I always feel it's already tightening up kind of like leather. So the next thing we can do is we can take chicken broth with an injector. You get these injectors at any grocery store, and I just like to use it liberally. Stick that into the breast, and you see how it's elevated right there? We're gonna go to keep pushing that in. So we're gonna do that to each breast. And it's okay if it drips out, that's okay, we'll use it later. So get pumped up, and we pump it up, and everywhere you can, just kind of fill in that chicken broth. That's gonna add to the turkey here not drying out. That's gonna help a lot with retaining moisture. So we'll do a couple more here in the breast. Like that. Do another one. Oops. Make sure you clean your kitchen when you're done doing this. All right, so we have that. So this is a compound butter where we take herbs and we process in the food processor, remove all the stems, just your basic trio. Marjoram, thyme, sage, rosemary, take all the stems off. Mix with butter, let it kind of harden, melt the butter, let it harden back up in the refrigerator. So then you want to take this butter, this compound, and we want to pack it down in there and then flatten it out. See how it's flattening out there? So press that in. And then I've added salt and pepper also to this butter compound. That'll help it retain some moisture and add seasoning. So often people season the turkey directly on top of the meat, and that doesn't directly on top of the skin, and that doesn't penetrate to the meat. So you see how I fan that out there? Yeah, this is gonna really help us retain moisture in the turkey. All right, so here's some aromatics that we have left over from earlier. I was just using stuff I had in the house: onions, garlic, thyme, limes from our lime tree that are pretty great. So I'm gonna stuff all that in there. We have some apples too, just anything. These really don't add a whole bunch to it. Just a lot of color, make it look pretty. So we have that. All right, go ahead. Now we're gonna add some olive oil generously to the outside of the bird here. And kosher salt, always use kosher salt, never use anything else. Kosher salt's the best, liberal. Use kosher salt, and we want to add pepper. Now, if this is a 15-pound turkey, we're going to allow this to come to room temp. Allow that stuff to marinate in there and get nice and good. Allow it to come to room temp, and then we'll go ahead and throw her on the smoker. One last step was I covered the breast with bacon. and then dust it with Montreal chicken on the outside. Then put my stuffings in, my aromatics, my leftover rosemary, marjoram, sage, thyme. We have it ready. Let this rest a little bit longer because we want to put a cold turkey in a smoker. We don't ever want to do that. So it's all ready to go. We have 1 can of chicken broth injected in that, 2 sticks of butter underneath the breast, mixed with compound herbs, stuffed with limes, onions, apples, salt, pepper everywhere, more olive oil. We got our bacon blanket on top there. Should help. All right, now that the bird has rested and it's come to somewhat of room temperature, still kind of cold, but we're gonna put it on the smoker. So follow me and we'll go through the smoker. There we go. I like to put it right in the grates. And the next thing is probe placement. We want to make sure we have good probe placement right in the breast. So I'm going to take the thickest part of the breast away from the bone. I'm going to go in halfway. And we'll keep it smoked right now at 220 at smoke level for an hour and a half, and we'll crank the temperature up to 325. All right, so we're an hour and a half in on smoking. We're at 73 degrees internal temperature. Let's take a look. All right, so bacon's getting a little harder there, getting some color on the skin. I'm gonna turn this up to 325. Give her another dusting of olive oil. And we'll see you in a couple hours. Welcome back. Now we're gonna take the turkey off finally. Come here. So our turkey has now been on the Traeger, the smoker, for 2.5 hours, and we have an internal temperature of 160 into the fattest part of the breast. So we're going to take it off. I use these tongs. I feel like a Ninja Turtle a little bit with these.
I dropped my dinner.
All right. So you got that. Turn our barbecue off. And the next video will be carving the turkey. Right now. Okay, now we're going to take what we had, the stuffing with those aromatics, we're going to introduce that back to the gravy. And this will actually help cool down the turkey as it rests. So you see all these aromatics that we're bringing out? Garlic, the apple, the lime, all that stuff, all that good stuff that we put in earlier. Let's pull all that out. And this is going to help it cool down too. And then we'll mix this with our gravy and we'll strain it. I'll show you guys how to make the gravy in the next video. So all of the innards and stuffing that we had inside the turkey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a potato masher and we're going to mash that up to extract all the flavors out of it. In here we have tomatoes, we have apples, we have onions, we have garlic, we have the neck and the innards, all that good stuff. And then we're going to sieve this to make a good broth. And we'll reduce that broth and make a roux. We'll make a nice roux, and that will be the gravy for tonight's dinner. More to come. All right, so now we're going to take that broth that we made all day and last night, which is a concoction of the innards and leftover grease that we did. We're in that crock pot, so we're going to put that through a sieve. We're going to put that through a sieve and get all that goodness into our gravy. All right. And as this continues to go, in the next video, what we'll do is we'll make a roux out of this broth, but I want to take all the solids out of it. So I'm taking all the solids out of it right now. We have a delicious broth, and we'll make that roux here in a minute. We're making our roux. So we're going to add a little bit of flour, and we're going to whisk it and let it set until it gets thicker. And this will make a really good gravy. We already have our salts, our spices added to this. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of milk. then we're good. We'll let this reduce and thicken up. And we'll see the final product here in a few minutes. So we're going to begin carving the turkey, and the turkey has rested for over an hour. We have that butter compound that's gone underneath the breast. We've seen that it's retained complete juices. It hasn't rendered any juices off onto the cutting board here. We're going to go ahead and start with cutting the breast. So you have your wishbone located right here. And notice I have this long blade. That's because I'm not hacking. I'm going to do smooth slices. See a smooth slice right there, and then we do a smooth slice right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to let heat out from our turkey. So then I go ahead and I'm going to start carving it and follow the bone pattern. Right there. And that now releases the breast. And then we'll release the thigh right now. Follow the natural grooves until you hit bone. So I hit bone right there. Now we're bone separated. And it's good to do this ahead of time because what it's going to do is going to allow the turkey to cool down, let all that escape out of it. You guys hear that crunchiness? That is crunchy skin, which a lot of people want.
Hi.
All right, now for serving, we'll finish this movie pretty quick. I like to do a horizontal sweep at the side of the turkey. And that allows a nice serving of turkey.